Howdy folks, my name's Christian and welcome to Bullish on Farming. Today we're just spreading some bales in probably our weakest field. It's quite stony, not much grows here except for some thistle. Of course we get some grasses, but it's really weak. We still get a few days of grazing out of this with mob grazing, but this field needs some love, so we've been doing a little bit of bale grazing. We're gonna do a couple days of that, and every time we pass the field, why not? Get some animal impact on the land and spread some carbon. I had the tractor out here. There's a few ways you could spread bales. Won't really go through all of them, but today I just put them on the forks of the tractor and I drove backwards and shook the bale to just loosen it lightly. Try to distribute it as light as possible, and then you're left with the core and you just kind of roll that out. This isn't something that I typically do mid-season, but it is, like I said, a hurting field, and so we're gonna do what we can for it every time the animals are here. Talked about spreading carbon in past videos. Essentially it's just this. There's many ways to do it, but if you can see, as that bale is spread, the pollen, the carbon, the seed goes flying everywhere. And well, the seed that's insulated by this layer of carbon has a better chance to take, germinate, and actually sprout. Exposed seed, you know, whether you till up on the ground or just broadcast some by hand without laying any carbon over top, it's easy visible to birds for them to eat it, and yeah, that exposure to the elements gives it a less likely chance to take. When you got carbon over top of it, you got a nice protective layer that's creating a ecosystem of fertility. And well, the cattle will graze this. It looks nice and clean like a carpet now, but as they graze it and leave their droppings on it, like they are back here, they'll start turning it into a fertility station. The carbon mixed with the nitrogen, that bioactivity, which attracts more microcultures to develop and spawn. Not to mention, those areas left with residue do offer the benefit of moisture capture and retaining more moisture from the rainfalls we do get. And that's an equation for fertility right there. It's not rocket science. The knowledge kind of comes to you as you do the farming. Of course, there's lots to be read and learned that is advantageous when applying new techniques, in this case regenerative techniques. But you really can't screw up too bad. I mean, I've heard a lot of guys say, if you just start mob grazing, in of itself, your grazing efficiency goes up, even if you kind of do it wrong. And so, as you get involved with your animals, you learn different things. It's always great to get a mentor or someone who's done it more than a few times to offer you wisdom along the way. That's what I did. I went into an internship and head first started farming. So in this area over here, you can see I've laid a nice thicker blob of hay here, and well, that's fine. I want them to mob it because I think someone ran a burn pile here in this area of the field before. It's kind of just turned into a ring of death. Just got thistle and weeds growing in it. So with a thicker carbon layer over top and some manure and cattle droppings put into it, trampled down, we're going to have a more chance of fertility in that spot for things to start to take and build topsoil over time than if it was just bare soil. Right? We do not want to see bare soil on our fields. So when you're laying out these bales, rolling them out, spreading them however you are, it would be a good idea to target your bald areas of your pasture. Anywhere that you have bare soil, that needs some love. Somewhere where seeds just don't seem to take and nothing seems to grow. Got to roll carbon on it. You got to get cattle impact on it. That's the magic formula right there. Or, you know, other ruminant animals. We're just running cattle here. But you can see how they're all just mobbing along the strip that I've laid out. And they will have a time with this. Folks, this is what they do all day. They eat and poop and meditate, you could debate. But this is what they do all day. So you leave them the hay and they'll go to work. Or you leave them to fresh pasture, they'll go to work. This mom's pregnant right here. She's probably gonna be going in the next, I'd say, week. Been watching her bag up and dilate in the back a bit. But we got 18 calves now. We're only waiting on about 3. Big happy family. We love doing this out here, keeping the animals on the land. And we got, you know, we just finished our first rotation on the farm. We're heading for our second. This was our starting point from calving season. Folks, we had our cattle on the land calving. You know, you're at the end tip of that wet season in the spring. If you have a high and dry field, find out on how to use it. You know, any cattle that needed assistance, there's a corral that we've built. Some guys who use old pipes from out west. They're no longer great for what they need to use them for. They just weld them together into cattle panels. Maybe we'll do a video showing that on another time. But yeah, here on this field, now that it's tapped out, we're gonna do bale grazing for a couple of days. Get some nice cattle impact on it. Before we move on, we'll probably catch you at that next video. We're on some nice lush green pasture. Thanks for stopping by, folks. See you on the next one.